For 15 years, I was dancing with the devil. Mental health damaged me in many ways, especially growing up in a small town in Saskatchewan, being an athlete, being an elite athlete. I didn't know how to speak up, so I tried doing everything on my own. I froze my feelings with drugs and alcohol to just get away from that one moment, sit with my feelings, and it wrecked my career. And this is my story. My everyday, it's been a blessing in my life. I get to wake up, I get to do something for a DJ every day. I get to go to the gym and hang around with people that accept me for who I am. And after the gym, I like to go to Player Athletics. The boys down there have treated me really well with my clothing line, and they like me for who I am. And that was the biggest thing for me, because I was always so scared of what people are going to think about me during my mental health time. And I get to come home and I get to look at myself in the mirror and I get to smile. I'm a mental health coach, not only for athletes, but for every person out there that needs to reach out for help. People out there are always wondering how guys like myself can help out someone. It's because I've been there. It's because I've walked in their shoes. Yeah, leaving home at 15 years old, I didn't know anything about the outside world, the hockey world. I knew I was hockey ready, but mentally, I wasn't. I felt like I had to fit in. I felt like I was living a completely different life because I wanted to be friends with everybody. I remember our first rookie party on our hockey team, and I remember the next day, my teammates are telling me, "Oh, good job, Deej, you're the life of the party," and all giving me high fives. And I remember thinking to myself, is this what I got to do to fit in? Started hanging around with people that weren't on my hockey team. I started hanging around with people that did substances and started drinking. It led on to an everyday drinking problem for me because I could not handle it. It was very hard on me. I felt like I couldn't say no to anything because I didn't want to let anyone down and let my hometown down, because everyone thought I was going to go somewhere with hockey, and all this pressure and everything. I had to numb my feelings, I had to numb my pain with something, and unfortunately it was alcohol at that time. I remember I was in Red Deer playing for the Red Deer College Kings, and I can remember getting asked to go play there. It was after my 20-year-old year. I got to be the captain of my hometown team, the Kinnersley Clippers. And I remember getting out there, and it was after my first year. I ended up staying in Red Deer that summer, working for the city of Red Deer, and a guy that wasn't even on my team came over with a white bag of cocaine. And I remember the first line I did, I was hooked for 10 years straight. It overall changed me. I started to isolate. I used to be such an outgoing kid. I used to have a lot of friends. I used to be a leader in my schools, a leader in my hockey teams. But after that, when I used to get my drugs, I used to lock my door, shut my curtains, and cry myself to sleep. That was an everyday thing for me because I didn't think there was ever a way out. So when I was in college, I had 5 free years of schooling because of the WHL. My parents didn't have to spend any money on me on schooling, but obviously they're paying my rent because I had to live on my own now because I'm going to college, and parents were doing pretty successful and keep feeding me money and thinking it's going to groceries, it's going to school, but no, it was going to my drug and alcohol problem. June 6th of 2022. I had a ritual every day. I used to sell vehicles in Kinnersley, and I would go to my drug dealer's house and grab my fix and go to work and come home and lock myself in my house, shut the curtains, and do my drugs and cry myself to sleep until that one day. I can remember my dad giving me a phone call telling me to go pick something up for him at Walmart. And I remember I went to my drug dealer's house before that, dropped it off at my house, went and did my stuff for my dad, and to this day I still don't know where this bag of cocaine went. And I remember it was 7 at night and I was being an addict. I had my phone light on, ripping up and down the curbs trying to find these drugs and calling my drug dealer, "Where? I need another one, I lost it, where is it?" Just being like that. And I'll never forget, there was 4 kids playing street hockey, and one of the kids said, "Deej, are you okay?" And I've never had this feeling before. I broke down into tears. I ran to my house and I was suicidal. It was like, tonight, DJ, tonight's the night that you're going to go to your mom and dad's house. And I remember it was a 5-minute drive from my house to my parents' house, and I turned around twice. And I told myself, Deej, if you turn around that third time, there's no way you're making it to your mom and dad's house. Scariest, best thing I've ever done in my life. I remember getting to my parents' house, open up that front door. I see my best friend, my mom, across the kitchen, and I remember her eyes looked up at me and I started bawling. And this cry was like a release cry, like, I'm here. My dad did everything for me. He's a guy I look up to, and I remember hearing his footsteps coming up the stairs, and the only words that came to my mouth, I stared at my dad's eyes and said, Dad, I am dancing with the devil. Yeah, when I went and told them everything, the best thing my mama did for me that night was let me talk. And I laid out everything on that table, from 15-year-old DJ right to that present moment at 29 years old. And 3 words saved my life. I remember after my mom gave me the biggest hug and told me she was proud of me. I remember my dad being so supportive, letting me talk and understanding that his son is not doing well. And I didn't want them to think it's their fault, because it wasn't. It was me painting a picture on my face and pretending everything was okay. And every day I was dancing with the devil. And when my dad, he gave me a big hug as well and said, Deej, we're going to get through this together. Those 2 saved my life. And it was the hardest thing I've ever had to do. And I could picture like it was yesterday. And just when my mom gave me the biggest hug and my dad, man, it would save my life. Oh, that was a good one. Ooh. It's okay to talk. It's okay to speak up. It's okay, whatever you're going through, because there is help. One thing I wish I would have done was ask for help and say I'm okay, because we are never alone. You are never, ever alone. And that one conversation can change your life. Something I wish I would have done back when I was going through it at 15 years old, but I did it at 29 years old, and that saved my life. If I survived 15 years of addiction, and anybody listening to this right now, if I could change, you can too.